I'm Lynn.
And I'm Mark.
And we're glad you joined us today.
Welcome to the Digital Marketing Hot Seat Podcast,
where small business owners ask us their number one pain point digital marketing question.
And put us in the hot seat.
Hi, I'm Lynn Smargis, and I'm a content writer specializing in ghostwriting, podcast production, and SEO website content.
And I'm Mark Thackeray, and I specialize in social media marketing, specifically Facebook and Instagram ads, email marketing, and email automation.
I'm ready, Mark. Are you ready?
I sure am. Let's do this.
Hey friends and small business owners, we are so glad you joined us for another episode of the Digital Marketing Hot Seat Podcast, where you get to listen to small business owners putting Mark and me in the hot seat to answer their digital marketing questions. We also have great digital marketing 101 episodes, which is what we have for you today, where we help you, the small business owner, with some aspect of digital marketing. But before we jump into our topic today, Mark, what client work are you working on this week, and what client work has your attention?
Yeah, so this week has been fun. You know, it's been this year has just been busy. There's just a lot of things to do, and but which has been great. You know, so but this week in particular, we have a client who's we've been working with for a while, and it's challenging because they do hunting expeditions across the world. So you can probably hear my kids in the background. They're like screaming.
Welcome to working at home, right?
I know, right? I know. Feels like they're on a hunting expedition for something.
They sound like they're on a hunting expedition.
But so yeah, this client has been the last couple of years. It's been really challenging because of COVID and travel, and you know, a lot of the ways that they do, because they like to do big in-person events too, conventions and things of that nature. They have a huge display, but so we've had to kind of pivot and adjust some of the campaigns that we've done, so that we can, you know, still reach their audience and still help them understand that, you know, there's still a lot of places you can go. You know, you're not just stop. You can't, you know, there's still many destinations that are open to that and things like that. So we're working on some email campaigns is one of the big ones right now for them. And because they've got different time sensitive offers, and email is a great way to get that out. So we're going to be doing that here in the next week. But yeah, what about you, Lynn? What are you working on?
Yeah. So one of my clients who I've had for, oh my gosh, long-term, probably 2.5 years now, who I've been doing social media for, it's been really great because, well, one of the things we realized that we schedule all his social media through Buffer, and that there's two specific categories that have been really taking off. And so we're really we're really kind of fine tuning and focusing on just really putting all the social media in those two categories and creating some small, like under 1 minute videos to like explain those things. And so that's really exciting when you start doing someone's social campaign. And we start out with like, I think 4 or 5 categories. We noticed these 2 under the analytics section and Buffer, like the free analytics section, we're getting the most engagement and the most reach. So we're just working on like creating more variation of those 2 topics to put in his feed to get more, like even more engagement and more people like, you know, following him on Instagram and Facebook. And his Instagram has been doing amazing. Like his Facebook's been doing okay, but his Instagram, because he has a picture, a business that is very image centered. So Instagram is a no-brainer for him, and he's been doing really great on Instagram. But the funny thing is that he does do a lot of business to business, and I thought the LinkedIn would do really well, and it actually hasn't, which is kind of funny. Yeah. So.
Again, you know, I mean, it comes down to testing. We were talking about this in our last episode, but you just got to test and see. And that's what's cool too about social media. It gives you a free platform to experiment on, you know, so you can put out things in different, you know, messages, you can different questions or things like that, and kind of poke the bear a little bit and see if he wakes up. And if that's a good sign, you know, it can, and let you know before you spend money, hey, these are the things that have resonated with my audience so far.
Yes, for sure. And if you haven't gone back and listened to episode 25, the previous episode before this, definitely go back and listen to or watch it on either one of our platforms, because it is a great episode on using your data for social media. And we talk about like how you can find that data and how you can use it to guide your social media to make it more effective for you. So definitely go back and listen to that. So Mark, what's our topic for this week?
Well, this week is part 2 of our data analytics series. And like you talked about, we just did an episode on the social media side, the organic social media side. Maybe we'll do one in the future on the paid social too. You know, we could do that. We didn't really get into that, but That one will give you a great foundation as far as what you should look at for what metrics you should be paying attention to. This week is all about your website. So we're going to be looking at different analytics, different data to help you see what's going on when people, how they're coming to your page, even how long they're spending on their page. And if you have it set up right, you can even see how much they're spending in revenue. So we've got some cool things to dive into. First and foremost, Lynn and I were talking about this last time, but just it's so important to reemphasize the understanding the lifetime value of your customer. So once you understand this, that's going to help you determine, okay, how much can I invest to acquire a new client? So if your average value is, we did 600 last time. So $600, we'll say is how much you'd make off a average client in a year. You can afford to spend, theoretically, you could afford to spend $550 if you wanted to make $50 profit. Now, I understand not everyone is going to do all that work for $50 profit, but it does help you understand that, hey, I can spend, maybe it probably helps you understand I can spend more than you think. A lot of people that say, oh, I want to run an ad campaign, but I only want to spend, $10 to acquire a new person, and I'm like, well, okay, how much are you planning? How much is an average client worth to you? And they're like, well, $600 or $500. And I'm like, okay, well, your chances of acquiring that person for $10 is going to be a little bit slim. But if you open yourself up to it, that could be a major advantage that you have over the competition, is that you're willing to spend more to acquire that customer, where maybe they're doing the same thing you are and stopping at $10, a hard $10 acquisition cost and not going above that, where you're flexible because you see the long-term value that it can provide. And so you're going to have the lion's share of that business if you do it right. So just understanding that is a key when we're looking at all this data too.
Yeah, for sure. That's really important. So before we jump into looking at the actual data, we're going to talk about the reason why it's important to look at your website data. And as we said before in the last episode, if you didn't go back, listen to that one, but use your data to guide you. You don't have to deep dive into your data to know something about your website. You can use your data just as a guide and go over like the main points if you're just starting out with data, because all those numbers can definitely be overwhelming. So Mark, let's jump into it and see what plugins and how can we use Google Analytics to know more about our website and what people are doing on our website.
Yeah. So there's a whole host of plugins. I didn't even make a list because there's so many, you can use. And
we're talking about plugins for WordPress specifically.
Yeah. Correct. A lot of people will just, when they go and add a plugin on their site, and just type in, website statistics or traffic or anything like that, and it'll pull up dozens, literally probably hundreds of different ones you can use. And I would just kind of scroll through there and see which one makes sense to you. I use Google Analytics. And so that's just because it's more robust, and we work with clients on the paid side of traffic too. So both for Google ads and, Facebook and Instagram ads. And so that integrates perfectly with that, and so that's why I use that.
And I know there's a podcast specifically around like WordPress plugins. So I would look up on your favorite podcast player, WordPress plugins, and see what plugins they have on there. And they rate and review each plugin, like what it does and everything. So that's a good place to start if you're not sure which plugins to use. Yeah,
exactly. And one of the reasons too, I like Google Analytics, I'll keep promoting Google Analytics just because it's Google. Like, it ties into all that information that they have access to.
It knows everything about you.
Yeah, I know, right? This is what I was doing 2 nights ago at 6:23. No, but it's not that detailed, but it's pretty detailed. And so you can get a lot of great information, very comprehensive information, which, can be overwhelming too. And so that's why, a plugin can be a great way to start. And then if you want more advanced data and analysis, you can graduate to Google Analytics and add that to your website, some code on your website. But
the other thing I was saying
go
the
ahead.
other reason I love Google Analytics too is because like I have been posting on Google My Business lately, like articles. And so when you post those articles on Google, that also goes into your analytics. So it can show like, and it also helps Google will promote your website more if you do really good articles, which I've been doing lately. It's been working out really well to drive traffic to my website.
Yeah. That's a great way to do that. Great way to do that. Why don't we take a break? Let's, before we jump in, I'm going to share my screen and we'll go through a Google Analytics demo account and really look at the functionality behind it. Before we do that, though, Lynn and I want to invite you, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast. That would mean a lot to us. And if you have a minute and you like what we're putting out, leave us a review. That would be dynamite. In addition, you can always listen to the podcast, but you can also see the video recordings of these on Lynn's content creation channel on YouTube, which is fine. It's Lynn at Right For You Content Creation, on YouTube. And then you can also find me on my website at markthackeray.com. And we will put any links that we mention in the show will be put underneath the album cover under the show notes. Did I say that right?
Yes,
Something
you did.
like that.
Do you need more people visiting your website? Are you looking for higher ranking on Google searches? Or are you frustrated by the ever-changing rules of social media?
Mark and I are here to take away the headaches and stress of digital marketing with services such as website content, social media ads, and website SEO. We can provide the digital marketing magic you need to increase the number of people seeing your website and clicking on your business links.
Visit our website at www.digitalmarketinghotseat.com and hit us up on our contact page to reserve your complimentary consult. Find out how our marketing team can take the worry and hassle of digital marketing off of your plate and onto ours.
Okay, and we're back in the first half. We talked about just generally where you can find your website statistics and why they're important. So the second half, Mark's going to pick it up, and he's actually going to give us a little tour. So if you are on YouTube or you go to markthackeray.com, you can actually see this video, and you definitely would want to check it out because we are going to be audio walking you through it. But if you want to see the actual visual part, definitely check out my YouTube channel at Right For You Content Creation or Mark at Mark Thackeray Group.
Cool. So this is the master view, as you can see up here. This is the demo count, by the way. So there's not any proprietary information.
And so for people that are on audio, we're going into Google Analytics. So how would someone find Google Analytics, Mark, if they're looking to use that for data?
Yeah, so I would just search, do a search and say Google Analytics, and it will have you create an account first. And then it has some instructions on how to embed a piece of code onto your website so that it can start tracking all the information. And then you just refer back to that Google Analytics account that you created, and it will pull up this master view. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. So yeah, you're going to once you log into your Google Analytics account, this is going to be what you're going to see is just this homepage, right? And this already has this kind of gives you a very high level snapshot of what's going on with your page. And so right up front, if you have, you're going to see this little window right here. And so you're going to see users, and this is all based on a time frame, which you can change right below here. So you see, if I can do a drop down, I can do the last 7 days is the default. I can do, okay, what's going on today? And that's going to change all my metrics. I say, great.
Yeah. You can also do a preset range, which is what I did on a Google Trends search the other day, because I wanted to see things that happened since the pandemic started, because we all know that everything's changed since the pandemic started. Yeah. So you can do that too and compare like pre-pandemic, later in the pandemic kind of statistics, which are always really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So again, this is what makes Google Analytics so powerful is it has access to all this data, and you can modify it and change it and crisscross, cut it up different ways. And so that's what's neat. So you're going to see like users. Okay, this is what it's looking like over the past 7 days, kind of takes this dip. Revenue, if you have this tied into, if you have it set up right, you're going to, you can actually, you can monitor and process like all your payments. It'll trigger something once a payment is made, and that will show you here in Google Analytics. And so that's what's cool, is it kind of a centralized dashboard to show you what's going on with your business from a marketing standpoint.
And so setting up with revenue, Mark, is that something that you can help clients with?
Yeah, we can help you set up all the right conversions and tags and everything like that to make sure that it's functioning properly, so that when a sale comes, it will get recorded in here. Yeah, it's really powerful once you see that, because you're also going to see things like conversion rate and see and understand, okay, when people get to one of my pages, for example, my conversion rate is 2.3%. Or, maybe you make a change and then you compare that. You say, oh, I want to do the last 7 days and compare it to, I guess we do have to go down on here, but you can compare, a window of time, the last 7 days to the 7 days prior, and so you can make those two comparisons and see, okay, what's different about it, and again, it's not going to say everything, it's not going to tell you everything, because there's some variables that could be the economy, it could be something that happened, things like that, but it will give you a good idea of, at least once people hit on your site, for example, how many are converting.
And then what's a good conversion rate range you want to fall in between?
It depends on your offer. So if you are, let's say you're offering we talk about like a lead magnet or some type of free report, then you can see conversion rates, 20-30% on those, just because it's a no risk offer in that sense. But when you're seeing conversion rates, it varies per industry wildly. And so if you're seeing, kind of a 2 to 4% is pretty good, for a lot of people. I have, clients that are under that, but they're, it's a longer sales process. And so it makes sense that, someone might be coming to the website and getting information, thinking about it, because it's kind of a commitment. It's like a 6 to 12 month commitment on their part. And so they're thinking about it, and then they might come back. And so your conversion rate's going to go down because, they're not just coming to your site and purchasing it. But if you're, e-commerce can get pretty high too, if you're at 6 to 8, 10%, like that's pretty good. So it just depends on a couple of things, but, so traffic, for example, and you can drill into that over here on your audience or on acquisition. So all these menu items on the left-hand side, you can drop down into and see. And again, can be pretty overwhelming. So yes. Don't feel like you have to go through all of these.
But one of the things that's really cool that I love on Google Analytics is it tells you how many how many active users and what pages they're on. So you can see how many people are on your homepage as opposed to your, checkout page, and then your site speed and by time of day. So your users by time of day, you may want to coordinate your social media with that. Maybe you coordinate your social media to be the same time or within the same time frame, so people see it on social media and then go to your page to buy something.
Yeah. So, even if you just got Google Analytics and all you did was stay on this homepage, this will give you a lot of great information, so you're going to see, just like Lynn mentioned, time of day that they're on your website. You're going to see traffic channel, so you see direct traffic, meaning they type it in, I'll type in, markthackeray.com and just go there, that's direct traffic. It could be a paid search. You show up in a Google search and it's a paid promotion. It could be display. It could be affiliates, other things like that, email, things like that drive to your website. This gives you lots of great data, especially when you overlay that with your conversions and the revenue that you're generating. So you can see which medium is going to drive a lot of revenue, and so if you go down to here on the left-hand side, if you see, okay, let's look at conversions, and I'm going to go to e-commerce or revenue, online conversions, and I can go to overview. And again, you don't need to drill into any of these more detailed ones, but just even if you look at this shows the last 7 days right up here.
And another important thing is the average order value. So you can find out from your statistics, how to increase your average order value to be making more money with the same amount of work.
Yeah, exactly. So many things that you can glean from this. So I'm just going to change the date range. So it's going to show the last 7 days, but I also want to compare it to the previous period, which would mean the 7 days prior to that. And it's going to overlay that and just see, okay, what's happened, over these past 2 weeks, and week over week, what's been the change. And so this will report what that change is. So the revenue's actually gone up for close to 4.5% week over week. The e-commerce, the conversion rate has improved, tiny percent, it's not much. Statistically, it's not much, but a slight improvement. Transactions, the number of transactions have gone down, which is interesting because you're seeing, more revenue, but fewer transactions,
which means people are spending more per order, which is good.
Exactly. which influences this one. Exactly. And so you're seeing that, and then you're kind of drop down in here and say, okay, well, this is what they were spending on these collectible dino figurines. Lynn, you didn't know that we were selling dino figurines, but this is what we're selling right here. And we look, 2,200. No, but these are all different items, right? And this could be a service. It could be whatever you have listed for your company. Again, this is just a demo account, but it will show you product breakdown and how much revenue came in over those 2 periods. So it's really neat. And then when you can drill down into the different channels to show you, okay, this was, let's look at acquisition, for example, an overview, and you're going to see here, okay, the top channels in terms of users, in terms of conversions, meaning in this case, whatever your conversions are set up as. It could be opting in for a free report, that could be a conversion. It could be a sale, that could be a conversion. Depends on what you set them up as. But you're going to see, okay, a lot of these are from direct traffic. Again, people that know you or like you or trust you, they're just going straight to your website. Some of them are from paid traffic. Some are from this display campaign. But you're going to see. I was going to say,
another thing to keep in mind too is that your site must be mobile friendly, because a lot of people are buying from their phones. And also, if your site isn't mobile friendly, Google will downrank you for that. So make sure that whatever website you're platform you're using to build it, that it does have a mobile friendly version on it.
Yeah, and you can see some of that. You can see the different devices, and when you come to your audience, you can kind of break down and see how many are on mobile, how many are on computer or desktop. But it's just, there's so much data here. And again, we're not here to overwhelm you or anything like that and tell you that you have to go through all of this. But it's here for your education,
And if you're a graph nerd like me, this is really fun.
Yeah. Well, and it can help you understand things, just see we made this change on our landing page and it was on February 15th. And it's weird that all those, the conversion rate went a lot higher, it could just, and maybe the thing you changed was you made it a promotion and now it's 10% off, whatever the case may be, but it's going to help you understand, did that work? Did it not? Was it not really significant? Again, help you understand which things are most important in your business to your from an audience standpoint, and what can I be doing more of, or what maybe I need to be doing in the future.
So Mark, I have a question for you. So if somebody's listening to this and they know they have a Google Analytics, but they're not sure how to read it, is that a service that you provide for clients? Is just helping them go on their Google Analytics and just helping them read it so that they understand what's working and what's not?
Yeah. We do just a coaching. It's like an hour coaching call, basically, where we'll hop online and walk you through it and record it and send it to you after. And then also just a bunch of resources too, so if they want that, then happy to do that. Kind of walk them through at least our process. There's lots of different ways to do it, but what's worked for us. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. Well, Google Analytics is definitely a powerful tool. Any other things that we want our listeners to know just about the basics of Google Analytics?
Oh, no, I think that's a good start. I don't want to make this too complex. But yeah, just start with the basics. And even if you're not really diving into any of this stuff, just kind of hop on, get it set up and then hop on and look at it, every week, every couple of weeks, and just start to familiarize yourself with that, with how the data is shown and, just some of the numbers. Be like, oh, that's interesting, and don't be like, this is good or this is bad. All the data is neutral, and that's something that some people have a hard time with, is they say, oh, well, I only got this and that's terrible. And I'm like, no, it's neutral. It's just feedback.
People get emotional about data, and I understand why, because it's your business, but don't worry about it, because at least where you're at right now. And because if you don't know where you're at right now, how are you going to plan for future?
Yep. Exactly.
So Mark, if somebody wants to get a hold of you to have you help them with their Google Analytics, what's the best way to get a hold of you to schedule a coaching session?
Best way is just email. Email is a great way. Is Mark, MARK at markthackeray.com.
Awesome. And I believe we have our emails in the show notes. If we're not, we'll put them in there.
I don't know. No, I think we do. Yeah. I think we do.
Awesome. So Mark, what do we have for our next episode of the Digital Marketing Hot Seat podcast?
Awesome. So, well, we just finished up. So this was our 2-part series. And I do think at some point we'll come back and we'll do another deep dive on the analytics for the paid social side.
Yes.
But we'll probably do that down the road. But next week, we're actually going to be talking about, and Lynn's going to lead this discussion. So I'm excited. We're going to talk about how to set up a Google My Business account and why that's so important nowadays when it comes to SEO and listings. And I've got some questions too, because I had a client, and this isn't a service that I do, but he mentioned that their Google listing got deleted. They can't find it. And I was like, oh, so yeah, I'll have to connect you guys because maybe you can help them and see.
Yes,
but that's what we'll be talking about next week.
Yeah. And we're actually going to do a 3-part series on Google. We're going to do one on how to set up the account, another on creating articles for Google My Business, and then a third one, which is going to close out our season on April 26th on effective ways to ask for Google reviews, because you need to have those reviews, because we all know that's the first thing we all look at when we go shopping is what kind of reviews that person's getting. So you definitely want to do that. So you definitely want to check in the next 3 weeks. And then we're going to end our season, and then we're going to take a break for a few months, and we're going to come back in October. But in the meantime, you definitely want to reach out to us if you have questions about digital marketing. You can visit our website at www.digitalmarketinghotseat.com.
We're so glad you joined us on today's episode.
Tune in each week for a new digital marketing hot seat question from a small business owner just like you.
And if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast, go to digitalmarketinghotseat.com and fill out our interview form.
And remember, make sure to like and subscribe to the Digital Marketing Hot Seat podcast on your favorite podcast player.